Hey to all of you guys, what's good on YouTube's 3D Res? Welcome back to a Pokemon Pocket. And over the weekend just gone, we had the Ursiiday's Pocket Weekly number 8. Now, I knew it was coming, okay? People call me crazy, but I'm going to channel my inner Jeff Hoogland here, and I'm going to come out and say that Celebi EX sucks. In the tournament setting, okay? Not in a normal game setting, only in a tournament setting. Now, we all know people love to put ludicrous amounts of energy onto Celebi. It makes sense, right? You want to see the numbers go right up. Well, you can clearly see here that there's a massive divide between Celebis and everything else they used to dominate. So your Pikachus, your Arcanines, your Charizards, whatever it is, right? They've all gone straight down, and Celebi's gone whoop, right up. Well, does that mean Celebi won? Spoiler alert, no. So, the metagame for the top 12 is as stands here. Not a single Celebi in sight. Glorious times. Absolutely glorious times. Now, I knew this was coming. The moment I saw that Celebi was 100% luck dependent, I absolutely saw this one coming. People call me crazy for it, but I was waiting for the tournaments to come around, for this weekend just gone especially, because that's obviously when they were all going to be, right? That's when you finally going to see Celebi in action. Well, I didn't watch any of it, so I really can't say much. However, I did catch the final game. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. You can kind of see here who won. But the great thing is about this, okay, is that we are now seeing variety inside of these tournaments. This is what I've always been banning on to you guys about. I am fed up of seeing Mewtwo's, Pikachu's, Charizards every single flipping week. It's why I don't compete in these tournaments myself, because it's literally me just playing the tournament again, and it's like playing the ladder again for like the millionth time over. But what I want to look at, okay, is the Scolipede and Weezing. This is absolutely, it's gorgeous. It's literally gorgeous. 2 of the top 3 Scolipede decks were Spanish. But that's not the point. The point here is that Scolipede and Weezing is going up. And I'm just so incredibly glad to see this happen. Because not only is Scolipede a pocket muck, it's literally a more efficient muck, and you can now literally revolve it around Weezing much more than what you could have done with said muck. Obviously, because you can't use double Koga in one turn, but here you don't need to use double Koga, right? You can just come in, put Weezing on the active, poison, yoink it away with Koga, hit it with Scolipede, Mewtwo is dead, for instance. That's it. A healthy Mewtwo, 150 HP, will drop dead to a Scolipede that is dealing 140 damage, obviously with the extra 20 because of the poison. That's the beautiful thing about this. I'm actually looking forward to seeing this increase even more. And I really do mean that. Because there's a lot going on for these. And it actually does really surprise me that people are actually playing this as much as what they did. So as you can clearly see here, there was 131 appearances of Scolipede and Weezing. Sure, there might be some variations along the line in those decks. But this deck itself is very popular. Okay, it didn't get a 50% win rate, fair enough. But neither did Celebi, and neither did Mewtwo. And look at this. Scolipede actually fell down by 0.26% behind Celebi. 0.26% behind Celebi. Which apparently is meant to be the god. So we're going to get into the top 12 here. And obviously going past these Scolipede decks. Here is the Celebi. Celebi. Now, I've said this before, okay? These Celebi decks are weird. I've said this time after time, and you really don't be going all out on these Celebis. You just don't. People are putting energy on these fins left, right, and center, and it's the reason why they're falling down. It's the reason why when I was running my Executor deck over the weekend, I was absolutely blitzing all of these Celebis left, right, and center because of their high energy. Sure, if you got literally 2 energy on the Celebi, that's 4 energy if you had Superior on the board. That's what people don't realize. It's the hidden energy on there. But of course, what people are doing, they're going all in. And that's not what you want to be doing, because once Celebi is dropped, you've got no energy on your bench, nothing. And at that point, you are defenseless to whatever's on the active for the enemy. So obviously looking at these decks, they change. They do. This one here, I think, is honestly the most weirdest one going. The most weirdest. It has double Delmise. And of course, it's got the Superior line. I've seen this going around as well. I've seen the Delmise stuff. I've seen the Executor stuff. I've gone up against it. I've seen other people playing it. It just feels weird. It just doesn't really hit the mark. And the mark being that you have to be consistent with everything on your board. But if you obviously go back here and look at the top 12, we can obviously see Gyarados and Greninja, and obviously Mewtwo and Gardevoir, Pikachu and Zebstrika, Pikachu and Raichu, Arcanine and Moltres. These are more consistent on the whole entire board than what a Celebi with a Delmise or a Celebi with an Executor is. I mean, okay, you have your Superior. But what's Delmise going to do about that? Not a lot. Especially when you have something like Gyarados, just literally flat outright kills an Executor or a Celebi in one hit. Anything on that bench is going to be dead as well immediately when it comes in. That's why Gyarados is so high in this. People were saying that immediately when they saw Gyarados, they just turned off. Because they're like, oh wow, the downside to it is you're losing an energy for all of your stuff as well as the enemy stuff. But it one-shots a Celebi. It one-shots anything in that deck. It one-shots a Mew as well, may I add. It even one-shots a Mewtwo if you have Geo attached to it. I'm just kind of visioning here that that's what people were trying to achieve when they were running this deck. Obviously, the Gyarados Greninja line is fantastic because you can really pinpoint the bench stuff before Gyarados even comes in. And if something, say, on the bench is being threatened, it's probably going to come out to the active and Gyarados can just wipe it off. So moving on to all of the Gyarados stuff here. This is where things start to get a little bit interesting. Now, we know that Celebi decks are very straightforward in what they do. They're not going to include anything that doesn't get buffed by a Superior. It's a well-known fact at this point. So having something like Druddigon in here is going to really shut that down. And that is the beautiful thing about this. Druddigon, I have really literally taken love to at the moment. It is such a great card. You can just plop it onto the active. Doesn't need any energy attached to it. 20 damage to the opposing Pokemon that attacks into it. That could say be 20, 40 damage. 40 damage you might not be able to get elsewhere. So say for instance if a Celebi fails the first coin flip, if obviously there's no Superior on the bench, then that Celebi is now going to be hit for 20 that turn. Maybe if you can heal up Druddigon a little bit more, 20, 40, possibly 60 if they even get even more unlucky. It's just with Druddigon being there is a threat. And people do tiptoe around this and I love it. And of course when you have Greninja, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, need I say more? You're continuously applying damage to what is there on the active, and if it goes onto the bench, thinking they're going to get away, safe retreat, you go and plop down your Greninja, possibly 2 if you're lucky, you're going bam, 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 bam. You're literally playing dots at that point. This is why I think Greninja and Gyarados is going to be such a dominant force in the tournaments going ahead. More so than what I think Celebi is going to be. Because it's just there. It's got the consistency and it's been proven at this point. So obviously looking at all the other decks, we have exactly the same. Oh, this one's interesting as well. Yes. This is all the same. You don't have to do anything else with this. You just don't. It works as it is. And it's so glorious in how it does. However, there's only one downside to this, right? You're probably noticing as well. They all run the same thing. They all run Leaf and Misty. Minus Leaf is the Misty. Misty is the downside to this. Which is why we have over here the 25% win rate. That's the only problem. That 25% win rate is a result of the Misty, most likely, just not getting anything done. And that's the downside of a Gyarados. If you can't get the Misty to work properly on the Gyarados, you're going to fall flat on your face. You've got no big damage at that point. But that's where Greninja does come into play, right? 60 damage, potentially 80 damage to what is only active because of the Shuriken. But you really need that Gyarados. And that's really where Misty is so volatile. We've all known this by now. We've all experienced it, whether it's for ourselves or whether someone else is doing it. It's a problem. But if you get the luck with it, they're going to see results. And it's why Gyarados is being played, especially with that energy removal attached to it. Obviously, when it's attacking, it removes an energy. That's really important. Really important. So now, you're probably wondering, what on earth won? Well, it was this here. Golem and Gyarados. I am still yet to run Golem myself. Funny story, I was yet to have double base Golem from the original set. I got it on the Monday night. So obviously the day before Mythical Islands came out, I got the damn double Golem. I haven't played it at all. But the truth of the matter is, right, this Golem here is so much better than the other Golem. Like, so much better. Because we look at it, and it's coming in at a massive threat. So it's a 4 cost. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes minus 30 damage from attacks. It's literally going to survive a Mewtwo Blast. It's going to eat into a lot of things. It's going well against other stuff as well. Maybe it might even survive against a Celebi, perhaps, if they get unlucky. But 160 health for a non-EX is crazy. And the 120 damage as well. You just can't get any better than this. This is why this really did shoot up. And it even has as well the good old bench sniper Hitmonlee. I've got to admit, okay, hand on heart, I've never liked this card. I've always just downgraded this card to the max. I've got to admit. However, now, this is valuable. You're going to be pinpointing the Magikarps, dead. 30 HP, gone. It's so good for this. You're literally picking off what they don't want you to pick off. You put this on here, you've already gotten rid of their potential combo. And guess what? Hitmonlee's not even in the EX. Obviously not. So it's only giving your opponent 1 point. But you're taking away 1 valuable point from them. You're going to shut down that combo which could have potentially happened 2 turns, 3 turns, 4 turns later. If they didn't have another Magikarp in hand, they're boned. They're literally boned at that point. And this is the beauty of this deck. And it works so well because, yet again, you have yourself double Gyarados. But you know what literally interests me the most in here? Is this Marshadow. Now, obviously, Marshadow, if you guys are not well aware what Marshadow does, If any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 60 more damage. It's literally Primeape, but reversed. Obviously, you don't have to take self-damage, you're relying on something else to die on the previous turn. But with Marshadow being in this deck, Hitmonlee's 80 HP, he's gone. And of course then, you also have your Druddigon being out there, being a trooper. Druddigon being the tank. You're putting energy onto Marshadow. Druddigon's going to drop, and no doubt Marshadow's either going to have 1 energy or 2 energy loaded, ready to do 100 damage. That could have been a Celebi there on the active. That could have been a Mew on the active. Could have been anything they don't want getting done in by Marshadow. But guess what? It's going to happen anyway. And this deck as well also runs 0 EXs. It is incredibly effective. And it's the reason why it won. It is the reason why it won. There's just no other explanation for it. It doesn't need an explanation. This Golem is fantastic. Paired with Druddigon, paired with Marshadow, paired with Hitmonlee, you've literally got the trifecta there. And that is the beauty of this. And that is why Nino Leo from Italy won your Ursiiday's Pocket Weekly number 8. And honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do in the next tournaments. I'm going to be looking out for this person. I'm going to be looking out for this deck as well on the ladder. The moment I get my next Golem, I'm going to go out and play this deck. And you know what? I'm going to craft one today. I'm going to make this deck. Because I really think that this is very strong. And you know what as well? Graveler. I didn't touch on this, but I will do now. This Graveler has 2 energy to attack with, compared to the original one, 3 energy. It works so well into Brock. Obviously, with the original one, you had it sitting there on the active, doing nothing, right? But you went from 1 energy on Geodude to 3 energy onto Graveler. But now you go 1, 2, 4. Potentially 1, 2, 3, 4 in one turn as a Brock. That's the power of this. And once again, that is why Nino Leo won your weekly number 8. Other than that, though, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Really do appreciate it. Have a lovely day whatever you're doing. If you haven't, please hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well. Let me know in the comments below what you think of these decks. Are you going to run any yourselves? And let me know as well what you think about the Celebi fad. Do you think it is overhyped? Do you think maybe it was the first week? Maybe people aren't really getting to grips with it. Maybe they're putting more energy on what they should be doing. Let me know. And now, guys, take care, stay safe, all that good stuff. And don't forget to the next live stream. You have a lovely day, whatever you're doing. Go out there and play some Pokemon Pocket. Play some of these decks. Because I'm sure you may find one you just very well may like. Other than that, guys, goodbye for now. Bye-bye.